Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of SuperCast. With me today is Soul Man X. How are you doing today, buddy?
I'm waking up. How you doing, Ginyu?
You know, I had a relaxing day yesterday, even though it was raining cats and dogs. And I'm pretty sure that a tree fell somewhere because those thunderbolts were very loud.
Yeah, it was pretty shitty weather over here as well.
Uh-huh.
Well, it's been like that since the 4th, so...
Yeah,
But
no,
that's the East Coast for you, right?
yeah, pretty much. So, I figure for today's topic, yeah, this time we have a topic. Wow, isn't that something?
Don't you usually have one?
Well, sometimes we get off topic, and it's a train wreck in its own.
That's both of us, really.
So, what makes a good D&D game? What would you say? What would you say are the basic things that entices people to participate in such a interesting storytelling experience?
Well, you named one off right there. Good story.
Yep.
Good people.
Mm-hmm.
Like both not just the characters, but the players role-playing as characters, whether they be your PCs or your NPCs.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
Have you ever been in a game where things just didn't seem to work out right? Has that ever happened to you?
I can't really say because I've only played a couple games.
Mm-hmm.
Like the one I played where I was a player, it was good in a sense, but a couple issues that kept popping up were scheduling conflicts because not everybody could be in the session same day, same time. And then there was some talks amongst the female players, mainly Kitty and one of her friends, that the DM seemed like he was somewhat gender biased, that he was giving more playtime to the dudes and not enough to the ladies. So, and I did sense that a little bit, but at the same time, I think I could even go a little deeper and say that he was giving a little more playtime to the more experienced players, like two of the guys who have played D&D since God knows when. They were getting a lot more playtime than the rest of us because they actually knew what the hell they were doing, and the rest of us were still kind of learning the ropes and stuff. But we still had our fair share of epic moments and not so epic moments, but it's what made the campaign interesting, really.
I figure as long as the story is good and you have ample opportunity to RP and maybe smack some ogres around or trolls or whatnot, it's all
good. Yeah, definitely have a good DM and have some good players regardless of experience.
Now, have you ever seen the I forget what channel name it is, but it's like these guys that are voice actors and stuff like that, and they all come together to D&D on Twitch?
Critical Role.
Is that what they're called?
It's Critical Role.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's I believe Matt Mercer, who voices like anything in anything really, because he is that diverse. Like he's not always a huge character, but you figure at some point or another he's probably voiced person A in rando video game or anime, all the way up to Jotaro in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Ah, yes.
Like he's done it all, and then he usually DMs, and then I know it's usually I think Felicia Day, or no, Laura Bailey. I don't know, maybe they're both in it. I don't remember, but I know Laura Bailey and Travis Willingham are in it. I think. I don't really watch it. I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
I'd have to look that shit up, but go ahead.
They got a pretty decent following with it. Yeah, I think that, as long as you're having fun with the game, no matter who's with you, it should be okay.
Oh yeah.
But here's one thing that I don't like, and this is closer to home. I don't like when you're basically stuck with the story and there's no way to like change it a little bit. It's basically like, no, we must follow the book. There shall be no extra stuff, or that's kind of lame. It's a story. You should be able to interact with it. That's always been my little pet peeve with D&D. It's like,
Yeah, that's kind of a mistake I made when I took a crack at DMing, but I made exceptions a lot since it was my first time, because there were a few times where Kitty and Moo outsmarted me and I was going off of the book, and the book didn't really have a scenario for if they did this at a certain point and that and whatnot, and I said, okay, I had to come up with something on the fly. I'm like, you know what, I'll accept it, and there you go. And I usually did little things like just award extra experience, or maybe give them like an extra item or something, just something to compensate for making the effort to outsmart me.
The way I always thought that the book is like a guide. You should use it, and okay, this is some of the structure, but if these people are really on the money, they're gonna figure out ways to kind of like do something extra, and you should reward players for that, like you were saying, extra items and stuff like that. D&D, the way I see it, should be a group effort, no matter what. Yes, you are the DM, and you have say over, what's going on. But what's the point in being a guy or girl, for that matter, or other, following the book and only the book? It becomes like, hey, you don't go outside the book. So it's like, what's the point? We're not really interacting with the story. We're just interacting with what's on the paper.
Yeah, and this was, I was going off the starter book too. I think it's called The Lost Mine of Phandelver.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that's the starter. That's the starter campaign for levels 1 through 5. So by the time you finish it, you should be level 5. Everyone should be level 5, and you can kind of ease into one of the like Wizards of the Coast published campaigns. Like, I mean, obviously there's full-on campaigns they publish for like levels 1 through whatever, and then there's like 1 or 2 books, I think, where they go from level 5 onward or something like that.
So, do you remember that time we saw those D&D books at what was it, Otakon, I think it was?
Yeah.
Did you end up picking up any of those?
No. I actually was at Barnes & Noble a weekend or two ago. Kitty had some gift cards to redeem, so picked up some non-D&D related books for her. And although I did spend a good amount of time in the manga, graphic novels, and game sections there, and they had almost all the D&D books, but if you buy them in a bookstore, they're always going to be full, like, MSRP, like $50 a pop usually, because Wizards wants to make back what they put into it, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
So the best way to go is Amazon. And I've got my whole wish list of all the books. I think I got to update it a little bit. It's more for reference for myself. I don't expect anyone to get them for me. But I do want to eventually invest in as many of the 5e books as possible, because right now I've got 5 of them. 3 of them are the essential ones, though.
Okay.
3 books you should always have for 5e are, whether you're DMing or playing, or both, always have the Player's Handbook, the Dungeon Master's Guide, and the Monster Manual. Those are the essentials for any D&D 5e campaign.
If I look through my collection of old books, I think I have one of the monster manuals, if not two. Because I always find it fascinating just skimming through and like seeing the details, and, like the drawings and stuff. I'm like, oh, I can draw that. Let me use this as reference and see how it comes out. I think my favorite monster, which is a pain in the ass for the players, would have to be a Displacer Beast. Because those tentacles, right, on the cat, I remember those damn things in Eye of the Beholder, and whenever they touch you, one of your armor pieces just gets corrupted, and I'm like, you son of a...
Is that the Beholders that you're talking about? Like
no,
the eye, the big tentacle eye things?
Yeah, that's the Beholder.
And what was the name of it? Displacer Beast?
Yeah, it's like a panther with two tentacles sticking out of its back.
I'm see if it's in my monster manual. If not, it might be in the Volo one.
It may be, you know.
But this is like 3.5E, isn't it, that you're referring to, or something else?
Something like that. It's old school. It's an old school monster, so I don't know if the new one would have it.
Probably not. Let's see. There's an index of stat blocks, but that's, well, let me see. Let's see. Displacer.
Does it have like a D section?
Oh yeah, Displacer Beast, page 81 in the Monster Manual.
Yeah, look at that thing.
Yeah, because I'm not as familiar with all the monsters of D&D as you are and other people. The only monsters I'm super familiar with, because I've played or DM'd campaigns with them, are kobolds, goblins, bugbears, that owl bear thing.
Yeah, owl bear.
I think it's just an owl bear. I think it's just called an owl bear. And well, we didn't get to the dragon in my campaign.
Any combination that has something to do with bear in any form, I'm like, yeah, bring them on.
Oh yeah, here we go, Displacer Beast.
Yeah, imagine
large monstrosity, lawful evil, armor class 13, 85 HP, speed of 40 feet. Pretty decent stats. Not the brightest creature in the world, but it's got dark vision and passive perception. It's a challenge 3 worth 700 XP. Avoidance, displacement, multi-attack, tentacle. Yeah, that's pretty impressive creature.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. Either it was that one that I was fighting, or I know because it was late in the game, and I hated those things because you had to fight them with long range weapons, and I'm like, geez, I gotta try to zap it with magic and hope that it doesn't touch me because I don't want to lose my precious armor. You know, because in that late in the game, you got like +7 and plus this, plus that. It's like you got good stuff, but this damn beast, if it touches you, it like corrodes your armor. It's like, damn, man, it sucks, man. I'd rather be at trying to get the Beholder into its own trap is easier than battling this piece of crap. Yeah, because you got to avoid the magic things that it throws at you, and you got to maneuver yourself so that you push it with like a spell, and this gate like crushes it, and it's like an animation sequence. It's very good. But this is an old game that I'm talking about here. This thing came out for DOS, and Sega CD had a version of it, so this is like ages back. I'm surprised that they still have Displacer Beast in your book. That's an old school.
There's a tank load of them in this book, and it's crazy too, because I was skimming through one of the newer books or newer-ish books at the bookstore, and I think it's the what is it, Raven? I don't remember the word, Ravenica or Ravenica. It's whatever the Guildmaster Guide one is, and I think that one. It was either that one or the Mordecai one has a small section of new monsters. So like all these supplemental books, they will usually have new expansions on things like monsters or classes and races like Xanathar. I love Xanathar. That one's got a whole tank load of new classes and subclasses, and maybe one day when I start playing again, I'll be able to mess around with that some more.
So,
But
I know your D&D experience is limited, but what would you say is your hardest creature that you guys ever went up against, as a team or solo?
Well, near the end, before the campaign that I was in fell apart when I was playing, we were going up against, it was like it was either 1, 2, or 3 of these witches that had kidnapped all the children of this what was it, like Harbor Town, and there was a lot of weird shit going on in that part of the story with like time travel and all that kind of stuff. I wasn't really feeling the time travel stuff because we fell into some sort of trap or some kind of time warp where we had to go back, like either go forward or go, I think it went forward 10 years, and eventually we found our way back to the present, and near the end we encountered at least one of the witches, and she was a pain in the ass, and I think we had just taken her down or were about to take her down before the campaign kind of dissolved and everyone kind of had to drift off and do their own thing, like real life wise.
Yeah. It happens, you know. I've had my fair share of incomplete quests that have, you know, gone awry because of whatever reasons. It's tough, you know. Life kicks in and like, oh, you know, some of the people, they had kids and like, you know, it's kind of tough to schedule a game where they're dealing with, you know, babies at the same time.
Yeah. Like, there was someone who just moved to my area from, like, England or somewhere overseas, and they were really into D&D, and they were posting on the community page, like, hey, I want to, like, anyone who's interested in D&D, leave a comment, and I'll DM you, or open a group DM, because I really want to get something together, and I guess the guy had done a lot of campaigns and knew a lot of shit, and so I tagged Kitty in it, and I was like, hey, we're interested, possibly. But then he never DM'd us, so I'm guessing he found enough people, or maybe we just weren't good enough. I don't know. I couldn't say. I can only speculate that either he found because there were a pretty good amount of people who were interested, but who knows? But there's also Roll20.
Yeah.
I know I could always get on there and find a group, but my fear, whether it's real life or online campaign, is commitment. Because I've always got shit coming up, especially with the move, so I'm worried that I wouldn't be able to commit to a campaign.
Well, you know what? I think this is a fair chat into some of the aspects of Dungeons & Dragons. So, man, do you have a website that you would like to give props to before we get going?
Haven't really stumbled across any interesting sites lately. I did find the cast, though, for Critical Role.
Oh, okay.
When you were asking, it was I could run that down real quick if you wanted.
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Matthew Mercer was the Dungeon Master. And then the players, there's Ashley Johnson, Laura Bailey, who's done a lot of stuff, Liam O'Brien, done a lot of stuff, Marisha Ray, Sam Riegel, he's been in some stuff, Taliesin Jaffe, Travis Willingham, he's been in a lot of stuff, Orion Akaba. And then they've had, okay, now I know why I said Felicia Day, because she was one of the guests. Like, they had some guest players.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Over the years, they've had Felicia Day, Mary Elizabeth McGlynn, Will Wheaton, Will Friedel, Kit Buss, Chris Hardwick, Jason C. Miller, Chris Perkins, Patrick Rothfuss, Noel Stevenson, John Heater, Darren DePaul, Joe Manganiello. Oh my God, I can't pronounce that. Oh, they had Kerry Payton.
Nice.
Huh. Mark Holmes, Ashley Birch, Sumali Montano, and Deborah Ann Wool. So they've had their fair share of noteworthy individuals, both as regulars and as guests. I know they had The Rock on one time.
Oh, yeah,
Or no, maybe it was Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel, I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, they had Vin Diesel.
Yeah, he's really big into D&D. Yeah.
That's all I got.
Well, you know what, Soul Man? I think we should bring an end to this cast. So, thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye, guys.